I've been asking myself lately, do we need a new tender on the boat for getting ashore? This little spindrift has been fantastic. It's rotomoulded plastic, weighs 56 kilos. I love the electric outboard and it's got a lot of really good attributes. It's served us very well over the last 3 or 4 years. Some of the things that I don't like about it are the fact that it is a catamaran hull. That makes it very stable, but when you load it up, you can only really put 2 people in it. And when it's loaded, it does tend to drag the freeboard down a bit. So if you're into a bit of a choppy sea, you can take waves over the front. The tender on the back of my boat's a bit like my car. I spend a lot of time anchored. It's unusual for me to be in a marina for any length of time. So when you're anchored out, if you want to go ashore, you've got to have a means of getting there, and this is where your tender comes into play. Now I've got some specific requirements that I want on my tender, and my mate Pete, I've known for a long while, he's building little tenders in Yeppoon. They're called fusion tenders, and he's built plugs to make a little tender that's going to do the job pretty well. But he's asked me for my ideas, and what we're going to do, he's going to build a tender to my specifications, and I'm going to film the build process. So we'll take you along as the tender's being built. So within 3 or 4 weeks, I should have a new tender on the back of Peggy-Anne. I'll be able to enjoy that, and it'll be something that's built to what I want. So that'll be fantastic. So let's go along and see how they build these fusion tenders. Well, we don't wear skimpy bikinis. Hell, it frightens me when I take my shirt off. There's definitely no one pregnant here. This is motor sailing for old dudes. We do live on a boat, and we do cruise extensively along the Australian coast. Join us and visit some great destinations. Learn how to look after a boat and live off grid. It might even get you enthused to do the same thing. Hey, stay out there till you can't. The first part of the process is polishing the moulds. 5 coats of wax. So the first part of the process is spraying the gel coat into the mould. Pete spent the whole day polishing this, 6 coats of wax and polish, and then hopefully it'll release pretty well.
Hopefully.
This is step 1 complete. Gel coat sprayed into the mould. Once the gel coat has set, a chop strand matte tie layer is then moulded onto the gel coat. The next step is to laminate in a double bias e-glass cloth. I've specified 450 grams per square centimetre for this boat. That will make it a bit heavier but very durable. If you required a lighter dinghy, carbon fibre could be used for these laminates. Once the double bias has been wet out with resin, it's time to install the foam into the mould.
So that that's pretty good. So the other foam will come and sit down.
The foam panels are cut and shaped very precisely to avoid any extra weight. With all the foam core panels cut to fit very perfectly, it's time to set up a vacuum bag.
I'll work it up to the front, Pete. Yeah, I've got to start this side so I can slide over. And I've just got to have enough bag so that we've got plenty. So I'm going to start the bag here, right?
As this hull is going to be made shorter by cutting and shutting, there's a section in the middle where we don't include foam and extra laminates. While I use catalysed resin to wet out the foam panels, Pete applies a very light layer of bog to the underside of the panels and glues them into position. The vacuum cleaner is used to remove most of the excess air out of the bag. Then a vacuum pump is attached to the bag. This is then pulled down to 1 atmosphere. This puts tons of pressure on the foam and sucks the bog up through the bleed holes. This ensures that the foam is totally affixed to the outer laminates. The whole process is then repeated on the front section of the mould. Once the resin is cured, the bag is removed and the inside of the foam is then faired up. Another layer of 450 gram e-glass is carefully cut and laminated in on top of the foam. Laminating of this hull is now finished and it is ready to be removed from the mould. Compressed air is used to break the flange, and then water is poured in under the flange and actually floats the new hull out of the mould.
Displacement.
The moulded hull is now released from the mould and just needs lifting out. A bit of water did the trick, floated her out. the first video for this year. I've spent about a month helping to build this new dinghy. We've got it in the water now, it's launched, and I've got another one, maybe 2 videos to do on the dinghy build. I know some of you don't get into the how-to side of it all that much, and you really look forward to me travelling. Well, let me tell you, I've left the marina and I'm heading south. We're heading down to Tasmania, so it's going to be a big year, and there's going to be lots of videos upcoming. But I've just got to catch up a little bit, and I've got 2 or 3 of these dinghy building videos to go. So I'm sorry if they bore you, don't watch them. But I'll be back with the cruising videos pretty soon. Anyway, this is what's coming up next week. We get into the cut and shut process. The new hull is cut in half and a section removed out of the middle to make the dinghy shorter. The 2 pieces are then put back together and rebonded. See you next week, dudes.